You're listening to the Current Plays podcast. Season 3, Episode 26. Sid Meier's Civilization: A New Dawn. Now please welcome your hosts, Jordan and Thomas. And welcome back, civilized listeners. This week, we are talking about Sid Meier's Civilization: A New Dawn. Published in 2017, it plays 2 to 4 players by designer James Niffen with artists Anders Finier and Michael Silsby, and published in North America by Fantasy Flight Games and Y2K Games. No, sorry. Just 2K Games,
2K.
not Y2K.
I was like, Y2K? That's an interesting name. Yeah, way back, playback. Yeah.
Yep, you can tell when we grew up. So,
yeah.
But yeah, this one obviously based on the wildly popular Sid Meier's Civilization computer games. And this is a board game adaptation of that.
Yeah, it's an attempt at a board game adaptation of that, and that sounds bad.
Yeah, that did sound bad. I'm like, it wasn't that bad, dude.
Yeah. And if you're comparing it, to the video game, and expecting the video game experience distilled into like a board game, this isn't it. I'm sure there's. I haven't played the Civ game yet that really captures that feel, and if you're a big fan of the Civilization computer games like we are, that I couldn't even imagine a game being able to really capture all that those games entail, right? They're heavy games, and there's a lot of math behind the scenes that you don't have to do with your head. So
right.
Distilling that into a game, I think would be difficult, right?
What's funny is I'm actually currently playing a game of Civ with one of our friends. Just, in the evenings, just one more turn. But I still he's very experienced with it. I'm not as experienced with it. And it blows me away how much is actually in those games. Like, I feel like I know a fraction of what's going on. Actually behind all the reports you can get and all the there's so much going on in that game. It would be impossible. Mr. President is probably the closest game or the game that comes close, right? But
I've watched some. Now we're just talking about video games. I've watched some like YouTube videos on like Civ 6, let's say, right? And just like the city planning that some of these like streamers go into, and I'm just like, I don't have the patience to really think that hard. Where I'm like, you know what? I'm just making this look good. Oh, I get a +3 bonus here. Perfect. That's good enough, right? I don't have to plan out the entire city on turn 1, right?
Oh, Brian says there's a saying, pin it to win it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the pinning.
Plan out. Yeah.
So, and this is what one of the YouTube guys was doing. He was pinning and like, okay, I'm going to put this here, and then this will mean I can put this here, and then that'll benefit this thing. And I'm like, no.
So this game isn't that complicated, but it is, I'm going to say it again, shockingly, a 3.2 out of 5 on the complexity rating.
That surprises me. Yeah.
Right?
Which is where's Arc Nova in that? And I'll get to why I'm saying that in a minute. You understand why I'm saying it, but I'm curious. I mean, I could have just Googled it too. I was like, no, tell me where it's at.
I don't remember Arc Nova's number at all. It's 3.79.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And Arc Nova is clearly more complex than this game is, but the reason I tie those two together, and I think I may have mentioned it on our Arc Nova episode, and if not, I'm going to mention it now. They share the same mechanic in the case of where you have a number of cards in slots, in this case going from 1 to 5. And as you use a card, you take it from whatever slot you're taking it out of, and you slide it down to 1, and you move everything that was in 1 all the way back, all the way up, right? So
Yeah.
with 5 being, if you use a card in your 5th position, you're using it to the fullest of its potential. Versus if you use a card in the 1st position, you're really limiting its effectiveness.
Right.
And Civilization does this in an interesting way where it's not so much of you get more of an action. For example, there is I believe it's I can't even remember the actual terms for the cards, but it's like an early Empire card. This is your level. It's a level 1
It's
card.
the culture card.
Culture card, thank you. It's your culture
Yeah.
card. So you can use that card, and it allows you to place these tokens onto the map, right? So they're essentially these influence or power tokens, and they let you take over areas of the map. Cool. But you only can place 2 tokens out with this level 1 card. When you upgrade this card to level 2 and level 3, still are only placing two tokens out. It's not till you get to level 4, which is the highest you can upgrade this card, that you actually get an additional token that you can place on the board. So placing 3, right? So that aspect of the game doesn't change that much when you're looking at from positions 1 to position 5. But what occurs is that each of these positions corresponds to a specific type of area on the map. So
Terrain type.
terrain type, yeah. So level 5 is mountains, level 4 is deserts, then forests, then hills, then plains. And of course, your map is made up of all these various terrain types. And what those later numbers typically do is they allow you to cross those various terrain or lower when you're placing, tokens or moving across the board or attacking with your um, military might, I suppose. Um, that's where those effects are going to take place. You're gonna look at the terrain types that you can use because of where your card's at, and then that's will make your decision, one way or the other, right? So
Right, right.
that's an interesting way of doing it, rather than saying, in Arc Nova, I found it was like if you do this in position 5, you get X amount more while you're doing it, right? When you're placing the parks or the enclosures, you get to, if you do it at level 5, you can play 2 of them, right? Depending on how upgraded the card is, but like, yeah, you get to do the action more times than once, right? So that's a interesting distinction between the two.
Yeah, and I think there were a couple cards. I know at least the military card, right, was your base oh, and the building card, the industry card. So the military card, your base attack power was the value of the slot it was in, and building, I think it was the if you're building a wonder,
Yeah,
your starting value, it wasn't quite money, but basically money, was whatever power slot it was in.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but everything else, yeah, I think was based solely on terrain. And I got kind of messed over because I picked a city, well, the spot I picked, I can't remember if it was the city tile itself or the tile beside it, but basically if I wanted to send trade out, I had to cross desert, which was
yes,
is like the 4 out of 5 positions.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I like I could barely send out my trade caravans. So I was hurting that way.
That's so it's interesting because so when you play the game, essentially you start off with the same 5 cards that are it's the same for either player, right? So one allows you it's your industry card, which allows you to either build wonders or build cities. So
Yeah.
very Civ-like decision there. The other one is your military card that either allows you to reinforce the territory that you control, or to attack others or barbarians or something like that, right? So that's your attack card. There's a card that is your economy card that allows you to send out those caravans to either the city states or to your opponent's cities. And then you have a card for trying to remember them all. The
Science card.
the science card, which allows you to upgrade those cards. So you'll get science points, which then, as you reach certain thresholds in the on your science dial, you'll unlock new cards that upgrade those same cards, right? So each card has levels 1 to 4, but you don't have to upgrade them in order, right? You can go straight from 1 all the way to 4 once you unlock 4 on the science track, essentially.
Right.
Or you can go like, yeah, I upgrade this level 1 to this level 2 card because I don't plan on using that card that much other than early on or something, right? And then the fifth card,
Is the
trying to
culture card, which we already
thank
talked
you.
about.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
culture one we already talked about. So placing those power tokens onto the board to increase your essentially it's your territory, but also that plays into effect with a few of the other cards because usually it's when you're measuring distance, it's from a friendly area, and those power tokens are considered friendly spots. So you're expanding your reach based on how far out these tokens go, right? So with that said, essentially, you have these 5 actions you can take. It's the same setup, but you get to pick a civilization at the start. We did it randomly, and that civ will have some sort of small power. But if you can utilize it, it gives you it gives you a decent bump, right?
Yeah.
And I said all this just to bring up. You talked about that desert being right there. I played as Rome, and Trajan's power was called All Roads Lead to Rome, which is the exact name of his power in Civ 6. But essentially what it allowed to do was I could send caravans from my capital as well as any city that was on the board. When typically you would need to send caravans from your capital or mature city, and we can talk about mature cities in a bit, but so this little power allowed me essentially I early on placed a second city and then was able to send caravans out from both my capital and this extra city, um, which was basically they were both equal distance at this point from two separate city states. So on when I was able to use the caravan card, I had just also updated that card with the science card.
Mm.
And then I had 2 caravans, and right away I sent one caravan out from my capital city to a city state, and then the other one from the second city I had, which was not mature yet, to the other city state that was on like my half of the board, essentially, right? And I hit both those early on, and it gave me such a tempo boost in how quickly I was able to like move kind of my needle ahead. Because
Hmm.
both those cities on my half of the board happened to be they were industry cities. So
Oof.
when you deliver
Yeah.
to a city state, you end up getting two sort of these wild resource, they're goods resource, and they go on to the card that matches the type of city states. So in my case, industry, like I mentioned, right? Well, my industry one was the card that allowed me to build cities or build wonders. So I had access to, you know, essentially I delivered these to caravans there, got the extra wild tokens, and then each of these industry cities also give you each city state will give you a power if you deliver a caravan to them. So both were directed at building wonders faster. One gave you like a two resource discount, and the other gave you a discount based on how many mature cities you had, right?
Ridiculous.
Yeah, so it was quite the, I was getting these extra tokens. I was getting discounts to build wonders. And our end game scenario, which I'll talk about in just 2 seconds here, ended up being directed towards wonder creation, right? So wonder buildings. So I was able to just hammer out wonder after wonder, fairly rapidly, to be honest, right? Just because I was getting a bunch of resources to do so.
Yeah. I, because my power as Cleopatra, I got a discount on building the wonders. And so I thought, okay, well, that's what I'm going to focus on, building the wonders. But you can't just go build the wonders. Like you just can't afford it. It's not possible. So it took me way too long to get my hands on some resources.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like you said, got this huge tempo boost up front, and you're just like hammering them out. And actually, one of them, by the time I finally got Natural Wonder that gave me diamonds. And then, like, the next turn, you took the only wonder that had diamonds in the cost. And I was like, ah. So
It was
I had to
part
pretty
of this,
much,
yeah.
I had to pretty much switch gears as to what I was focusing on midway through. And that, like, ruined me.
There was times I was looking at my board and then I was looking at you and I was looking at your industry card and okay, where is it? It's in like spot two, it's in spot three. I don't think he's going to use it yet. So I have a little bit of time before I like build another wonder or something, right? So I can collect some resources and then, do some other things first before I do that. And then when you started to move, like when it was in like position four, I was kind of like, okay, I'm gonna buy this now. I'll prioritize this because you're about to build something, and I don't want you to take one of the ones I want, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was so the way the wonders why they were so important in this case. So when you build a wonder, you have to have a city that it builds in, which is kind of a neat mechanic too, because if you lose that city, someone takes it from you. They now control that wonder. But those wonders also give you again special powers, right? So it seems like there's a lot of things, trading with the city states gives you a special power. Trading with your opponent's cities gives you a special power. Building the wonders gives you a special power. So there's a lot of these, special powers that occur just by doing things in the game, right? But how you end the game, how you kind of win this game is at the start of the game, you shuffle up, I believe it's five or six of these. They're like goal cards. And each card is made up of two goals. So you'll shuffle them up. You'll draw three of them. If you want an extended game, you'll draw four. We played just a standard game. And then the way the game works is you have to meet a one of the objectives, one of the goal on each of the card, and the first person to do that will trigger the end game.
Mm.
So if you're able to get a one goal complete on each of the card, you've likely won the game, right? Now in our play, what had happened is the first card that was up was basically a split between either get two of the culture um, wonders built, or something else to do with culture. I can't
15 tiles on the edge or on
next to
water.
water, right? Yeah.
Next to
So
water. Yeah.
controlling 15 tiles, which we were both really close to that as well,
Yeah.
just from natural growth of our sieves. So that was the one. So, okay, yeah, two wonders there that I was looking at and going, okay, this is great. I can because I have this wonder. generation, I can really aim at those. Then the next card was military wonders. So build two military wonders or conquer two city states slash conquer one capital city. So, that was kind of like a almost three goals on there. If you could, but the top goal was split between obviously being aggressive toward the city states versus being aggressive to the other player, right?
Yeah.
But again, more wonders there, right? And then the third one was natural resources. So being able to claim two natural resources or having five mature cities. And
Two natural
just
wonders.
two natural wonders. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So just strictly based on the setup, the early setup of our board. Like I mentioned, I had the two closest cities were both industry cities, so they helped get towards the wonder production. And
Right.
then two natural resources, two natural wonders were really close to me as well. So I think I ended up getting it like second turn or something, or third turn, just based on timing wise. I was able to lock down my first one. And then it, the way the map was set up, there was sort of in this game, you can't cross water. I believe there's some updated cards that allow you to do it,
Yeah.
but early on you can't. So there was one natural wonder that was pretty much only on my half of the board, just because of how the water tiles came out. So it was like that one I could basically ignore until I was ready to take it and then finish that objective, right? So that, I really lucked out with the setup of the board. It is the board is the way it's set up. It's an interesting sort of you take two natural wonder um, pieces that are essentially they're terrain pieces that they're cart I don't, how would I explain this? They're map pieces made up of a number of hexes on these pieces, but all the map pieces are the same size with the same amount of hexes. It's just random what sort of resources are on them, or natural wonders, or if it's a city state. So you take two of the natural wonders uh, map tiles and then two of the city state map tiles. You randomize them and then you roll a dice and it determines, if it's a top side, the A side, or the bottom side, the B side. And then you set up, four core tiles. Then from the remainder of the tiles, you essentially shuffle them all up. Each player gets a starting tile that is mixed up as well, that their capital city is going to be on, and then two of any of the remaining map tiles that are in there. Again, potentially now at this point, there's two more left that have natural wonders. There's two more left that have city states, and then there's four that are just tiles with resources on them. So none of those like kind of specialty things, cities or natural wonders. So these get mixed up. I ended up with my three were obviously you have your one uh, capital map tile, and then the other two that I got were both city states. And then
Yeah.
for you, you ended up getting, I think, a natural wonder, one of the blank spot map tiles that just had normal resources on it, and then of course your capital tile as well. So right away, like the first one I put down, like you started off, you put down a tile, they have to be touching the core tiles. Then I put down one of the city states on the industrial side. And then you place down your second tile, and then I was
Yeah. I
like,
put down my
okay,
capital, I think. Uh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And then I put my capital down by the city state I had just played. So now I knew I was holding the other city state, so it was just a matter of tucking that closer to me than it was to you, right?
Right.
So at that point, yeah, just through random map tiles that I got, and then building, and then placing my capital, like. I was able to place myself in a pretty strong position right from the start. And it definitely showed once we were playing, right? That like, okay, I was able to get here and there. But interesting enough, like even having said that, like saying like my position was more advantageous, I would say, you had some pretty bad luck with some dice rolls.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. And then but then like when you explained what you were going for, like it could have been quite a swing move that would have came out of nowhere for me, where you would have just completed two of the objectives or two of the goals on two different, cards and been like, okay, I'm running for the end game now, kind of thing, right? It didn't
Yeah.
happen that way just because, like we said, you
Yeah,
you
you were a
roll
little too
poorly.
quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I built cities out to capture the natural wonders and some natural resources that I again had been thinking I was going to put towards building some wonders. And then you snatched up the wonders. But I had kind of already been playing the culture a lot, so I was trying to get some mature cities, right? And that was one of the goals was five mature cities. And then so I like I said, partway through, I was like, okay, I'm not getting those wonders. Like, there's just no way I'm gonna beat you to that. And so I grabbed a different wonder that I realize now I should have grabbed way earlier.
Yeah, it was a
Um,
powerful one for sure.
yeah, that lets you swap two of your cards. So what you could essentially do is if there's one thing you really wanted to focus on, you could like artificially bump it up the slots, the power slots or whatever, quicker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then I kind of realized, okay, if I can attack and take over these two city states, right? Then I've got my three cities. I take over those city states. That's five cities. And then I just have to surround them with culture. And I've got the five mature cities. I've got the military one with the controlling two city states. And then that explore one, a bit of a misplay by me, because I'm sure you said it at the beginning of the game, but the icon shows like a water tile and then a 15. And so I was like, "Oh, it's be adjacent to 15 water tiles," not realizing that also included border tiles and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that I was pretty close to that number. But I think like even if I had just stuck with the plan of taking over those city states and surrounding them with my culture, like I would have had it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I would have had all three, right? Like you said, kind of almost out of nowhere, but yeah, a little too slow on it. Didn't again quite see that one goal. And then yeah, I kept attacking these city states and not being able to defeat them, and then having to wait for that military to go back up to five to have a chance. And the city states were culture based.
Yeah.
So like I couldn't even add anything to my combat. It was just I did upgrade my military card once, but yeah, it just wasn't happening.
And to give you an idea like of how sad it kind of was to watch too was you know with the combat card before you even upgrade it, you get two attacks in a turn, right?
Yeah.
So you had to overcome like the city stakes are pretty strong. Like they have you roll a die and then you add eight to that die. So their bonus of eight defense is high, right? Versus, when you're attacking it, you can attack it. If it's in that fifth position, you're getting, five plus your die roll, and you have to overcome the whatever the city state defense was, right? But then as you upgrade the military, you start to get bonuses to that attack as well. And then if you can put some of those wild tokens on, you can use those as well to bump up those numbers. But
Yeah.
every time you rolled for the attack, it was like a one or a two with
Yep.
like without fail. And you get two rolls to do it, two tries, two. Nope, one. Oh, cool. and I
Yep.
was rolling, I'd be like,
That's my
okay,
turn.
here's the defense, 6. Here's the defense, 5, added to the 8, right? And there was like,
Yeah.
yeah, there's no way. Even when I rolled, the one time I rolled mediocre, I got like a 2, and you had like rolled a 1, and it was like,
Yeah.
come on, like really? Any higher number you would have taken at that turn, and it just,
Uh,
yeah, it couldn't. But yeah, it was like, so it was like a total of like 6 attacks or so that just whiffed for you.
yeah.
And then finally you took one of the city states near the end of the game, and that was it. That was the thing. Had it gone more in your favor, you would have taken the 2 city states, scored that objective, and then I think one of the other objectives would have triggered off for mature cities just because of how much you were expanding right at that point. So it was like in one turn you would have just like swept 2 of the objectives kind of thing, and like you said, just by naturally building, you you would have had a bunch on the edge of the board and around water as well,
Yeah.
right? So it was yeah, it was for me to get this tempo boost for the wonders, and then you to whiff on the die rolls. Like it was just it didn't work out. I was able to complete things just so much faster with those two combination of those two things, right?
Yeah. So in the
Which
end, you had
yeah.
three of the objectives. I had none.
Hmm. Which is
Brutal.
it's an interesting thing, right? Because like you're playing this one, and I was trying to make it. It can end really fast. This game, surprisingly
Yeah.
fast.
Yes. Very
Um,
surprising, especially when you sit down, you've never played before, and you're thinking about Civilization, the computer game.
being this grand game, yeah,
Yeah, it's a 500 turn game. Uh, this board game was not. It
yeah,
was over pretty
yeah,
quick.
yeah. It was the longest part of this game is just waiting for those cards really to mature so you can use them at a higher level, right?
Yeah.
But if in my case again, when I talk about the setup I had, I was able to build a wonder when it was in spot 5, it'd go to spot 1, and then I had so many of the wild resources just from caravan actions to industrial city states that like I could take the action at 1, and build another wonder kind of thing, right?
Huh.
So yeah, that was my limiting factor was I needed to use that card to build cities so that I could put wonders in it. And it's the same card for both those things, right? So it was like I run out of cities to put wonders in. I got to build more cities and then put a wonder in it, right? So it was like, yeah, my
Oh boy.
final like 2 turns were like use the city function in spot 2, and then use the wonder function in spot 1 and finish the game, right? So
Uh,
yeah, I had fun. It's a fun game. I
yeah.
hear the expansion takes it up maybe a little bit more in the way of complexity. There's districts that it adds, and there's a few other things. I'm interested in playing the expansion for sure. I may pick it up. This is definitely not one of my favorite games, but I did have a good time, and I think my son would really enjoy this one as well. So I might try and get it set up so the 2 of us can play it too. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good game. I just don't we play a lot of excellent games, and I don't think
I
I'd
was
put this
just
in
gonna
the
say.
in the excellent game category, right? I enjoyed
Yeah.
it. I had fun. Um, but I even setting up my board game shelves, I have a shelf, you know, kind of on the right here that has all my like top-notch games, and then I have a shelf here on the left that has good games, but they don't belong in the right shelf. And it's on my left shelf, this Civ game,
They
right?
belong in the collection, but not.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say exactly the same thing. Like my honest opinion is it is a good game. It's a fun game. it's not gonna beat out some of the other games in our collection, most of the time.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And unless
Um,
you're in the mood for that particular kind of game, or you've got the company that would really enjoy that kind of game, right?
for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that wraps up another episode of the Current Plays podcast. Check us out next week on YouTube or your favorite podcast provider. But until then, good gaming and good night.
Good night, folks.